Oh man, hey everybody, it's Monday night yet again. It keeps happening. Tonight though, it's a very special one. We're talking High Republic. We got a brand new site edition, I guess I would say, over at Youtini. We're very excited to share with y'all just a little news, a whole lot of fun. We're excited. Okay, breathe in, grab your Mountain Dew, and punch it! Welcome to The Living Force, a Youtini Network podcast all about Star Wars books, especially The High Republic. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me tonight to have a good time talking to our chat and our dishwashing gang, shout out, is the full cast of characters, starting with Dr. Corey Helton. How you doing?
Hello. My fingers are numb from all the web design I've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
That's accurate.
I'm not sure how fast this came together, but I'm excited to show off the fruits of our labor here at Youtini tonight. It's going to be fun. You
are always excited to show off your labor. That is true. It
that
remains consistent, whether it be in the delivery room or a website. And your fruit. You know who's never excited to show off? Because he's a humble man from humble beginnings. It's Dr. Charles Hankel.
It's not that I don't want to show off. It's just that I don't do anything around here. So I can't,
right.
I can't show anything off.
Oh,
it's good to be here.
We had that thread earlier. It was like, how many hours have you worked at Youtini per week? And Charles was like, I don't know, 2. And that includes reading. So...
Well, you know who works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to pick up Charles's slack? Wes Jenkins.
That's not true. Let's not start out on a bad foot. Charles and I work together as one person. So at least
Wes and I are actually responsible for everything you see on tonight's show. Everything.
100%.
It was us.
Oh God, I just got flashbacks to doing group projects in high school and being like, we all contributed. But you know who else contributed? All of you listening at home, all of you watching tonight. Hello, if you're watching live on YouTube, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you get all of the cool updates from Youtini throughout the weeks. If you're listening, you subscribe to us on your podcast catcher, and go ahead and throw us a review if you haven't in a while. We always love seeing those. Helps people find the show. We've got some good ones lately. We love the support. We love you guys. Hope you're all doing well. A couple updates this week. First of all, we have promised it for months. We did it once and deleted it, but it has happened again, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. Our Patreon goal, our Rogue One commentary did happen, guys. We finally recorded it, and I thought it went very well last week.
Better than the first time.
Much
actually.
better.
I actually think it went better than the first time too. It was like weirdly more fun to watch. I think it's super fun to watch Star Wars in the same room as each other, but like you're also like everybody just trying to talk over the TV and like you're trying to hear and you can't see, and it's like I don't know. It's weird. There's something about sitting in front of a computer, funny enough, a small screen, watching the movie. And like you have it playing in your headphones in your ears. I don't know. It was different. Maybe it's just because we're so used to doing this digital podcast thing with each other. But to me, it honestly felt more natural to not be anywhere near you guys.
Or maybe it's just like redoing stuff. Maybe it's just redoing stuff makes it better. Like, I would like to think the show has gotten better by episode 151. And like our Queen's Shadow Roundtable, we did 3 times. And by the 3rd time around, it was good.
Exactly.
Right.
It's repetition. It's reps. It's just like sports, right? You get the reps in, you feel good about it. And for all of our patrons, that will be up very soon on your podcast platforms or your RSS feeds that you get from Patreon. Keep an eye out. Thank you again for all your support getting us to that goal. In the next, I believe, 2 weeks, we have it scheduled. We will be recording our Revenge of the Sith commentary because we did hit that as well. After that, we have new goals. We have new heights. Of course, our documentary full reveal is our $1,000 goal that we're still working towards. But there should be something else before that. But we're very excited. Again, thank you to our new patrons, to our old patrons, to everyone that has been along the ride for us. This is so great. We love you all very much. And of course, if you want to see anything else for Patreon rewards, events, etc., talk to Timothy. Good old Timothy Guthrie over on Discord. He's our Patreon manager. He will tell us the good ideas, and I don't know, the bad ideas will die. Who's to say? There's no bad ideas. That's not true. All right, Wes, let's go to a pretty abbreviated Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
It always gets me. Just a couple pieces of news this week. We had This Week in Star Wars, as we always do, with the fantastic Kristen Baver, and we got an announcement that honestly none of us saw coming, and like 3 members on our team lost their minds about. We got a new book coming this fall. Star Wars, I kid you not, Timelines is coming from Kristen Baver, Jason Fry, Cole Horton, Amy Rochow, and Clayton Sandel. Guys, I think Trev on our team, who is our timeline keeper, lost his mind this week when this
He might actually be dead. I haven't confirmed that he's still in Slack. I think he may have literally died.
Yeah. This looks so great. The cover is beautiful. We're showing it right now for our audio listeners because not only does it have characters like Boba Fett, like Darth Vader, even like Jyn Erso, but we got the Ghost in there. We had Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo. We got Keeve Trennis. We got Grogu. It's all mediums, all eras. And this all-new guide, quote, breaks down the in-universe history of Star Wars for a stunning visual guide that spans from the time before the High Republic to the fall of the First Order, encompassing the Skywalker saga films, live-action series and animation, books and comics, games, and more. So, what's the over-under on this being more accurate than the Youtini timeline?
Listen, as soon as I saw that this thing was announced, part of me wondered deep down if somebody, maybe not somebody important, but somebody that was working on that project went to youtini.com and looked at our timeline just to like get a feel for what's out there. You know, I bet they did. We do have
or at least
the most accessible timeline on the internet. If you Google Star Wars timeline, we are very high up in the list and by far the most quality. So like, I don't know. I think we get 50,000 hits a month on the website, right? Like 1 or 2 of those people are bound to be somebody that's important, right?
Maybe. I think all 50,000 of them are important, frankly.
I knew you were going to say that. I set you up for that perfect.
I'm a company man. But it would be nice to have a bound version of it, right? Obviously, we love our timeline, folks. Everyone needs a mad Welshman looking over all of Star Wars history in order to make a timeline for them. I hope you had a mad Welshman working with these 5 authors. But regardless, this does look great. I'm very excited to have this. Honestly, it's on my table to like, as I'm looking through it, it'll be fun to see the events lined up. That's always fun in all the reference books whenever they line up like the battles and character birth and stuff like that. And the fact that they're incorporating all these things, I know we keep saying it with all these reference book releases, but between this, the High Republic art book that was revealed last week, like, it's just really sweet that we are combining all this canon together constantly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's cool to get the timeline in a pretty official capacity too, right? Because like,
for sure.
You know, Star Wars books have always had that sort of timeline that a lot of us used to navigate the expanded universe back in the Legends days, right?
Oh yeah, the Legends timeline was legendary, literally.
Yeah, it was really cool that was in the front of every book. And then, Youtini, we've had a wild history with timelines. We had them in the magazine back in the day when we were doing book boxes, right? We had those printed timelines. Remember those days?
Yeah.
And the canon timelines only got more complicated from there. I mean, it's crazy huge. And it'll be really interesting to see how this book does it, because like we know what they've said that they're going to do with it, but like, are they literally going to like, is this going to be the definitive Star Wars timeline? I mean, is it going to have all the books on there and the comics and how they fit in with these? Is that all going to be in here? I mean, it's kind of implied in the publishing summary that's what's going to be in it. So it'll be really interesting to see if that is. If so, if this is the official timeline, we will certainly have to adjust the Youtini timeline, to match it, because that's what you do. I mean, we want to be official, so we adjust things as necessary. The last big change we did was when they changed the eras. When we got that. We changed that. So,
and there would have to be future editions. Some people are pointing that out in the chat too, right? Because there's like how many books later on this year that might not be in timelines, and we're going to need those down the line.
It's like textbooks. They're figuring out they can sell us the same thing like every 2 years, and we're like, oh, you have the 3rd edition of the timeline. Okay, you need the 5th.
It's like the
this one has new math. It's different math. It's not the same math that's existed for 1,000 years. This is new math. Here you go.
It'd be insane. JG, I love what you wrote in the chat there about how this is your most anticipated reference book besides The Art of the High Republic and The Art of Star Wars Visions, which does illustrate we are getting so many great books this year. Like we talked about them a couple weeks ago.
Stuff.
But the reference books this year, I think, are also just massive. And there's so many things from Insight, from DK, from all these places. Of course, this book is coming out later this year. I believe you can pre-order now. So go. Obviously, Youtini release schedule has all of that you need. Cannot wait for it. We'll be covering it, hopefully, in a Star Wars Weekly Roundup when that releases. Next piece of news, we got a little announcement this week that I guess maybe we could have assumed, but not really. I know it's tough because this man keeps retiring, and it never sticks. Charles, just like last week, I'm going to let you deliver this piece of news. Who's coming back to do something very special?
Well, there is someone who is as essential to Star Wars as anyone else, right on up there at the top with George Lucas, and that is none other than the maestro himself, John Williams. Yes, the 90-plus-year-old John Williams that has been with this franchise since the very beginning. He is coming back. Every time he bows out, he says, actually, I'm going to come back for one more thing. And that thing is Kenobi's theme for the upcoming Kenobi TV series. So as far as I understand it, it is specifically the theme. He is not scoring the entire show. They have not yet named who will be doing that, but similar to what he's done in the past, come back for a specific theme. And that's really exciting to me because I feel like in a way it kind of even further legitimizes this project, which is a strange thing to say about an official Disney project, but there's something about it, right, that makes it feel even more Star Wars if you know John Williams is on board.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
The
totally
man
agree
is
with that.
90.
It does make it. Yeah, it does make
90.
it really. Just make it really official. There's something weird about
It
that.
does.
Like hearing that
Yeah.
John Williams is doing. I mean, like, remember, was it last week? I think that we said that, like, God forbid if the Kenobi show is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I think this. I mean, this is. Oh man, nail in the
odds
coffin.
of that are
That's not
dwindling.
gonna. Yeah, they are. They are. I mean, good lord, they're getting. They have original cast. John Williams is now involved. Like, Jesus. I mean, if they get George Lucas to direct an episode, I think someone's gonna have an aneurysm or something like that. I mean, good God. Like, I mean,
Dude, it's amazing.
am I dreaming?
right?
Wake, somebody needs to wake
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah.
Like,
There's John
this
Williams.
isn't real.
John Williams, like, I remember how I created all the themes from the prequel era. I can't have somebody screwing this up. I have to be in there to
Yeah.
finish it out.
It's what it feels like. I mean,
yeah.
because like when Solo came out, right? We have the amazing score that was not John Williams, but oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the person who scored Solo, who did How to Train Your Dragon. Please drag me in the comments for this and tell me who it was. But it's one of my absolute favorites. But John Williams did the theme, like when you see Solo come up and it's Han's theme on Corellia, like that's John Williams because he's like, I created the musical backdrop for Han Solo. I will create the theme for young Han. And I think that's exactly where he was here. He's like,
John
I
Powell.
created John Powell. Thank you. The legend. I am so sorry. Sorry, there's too many legitimate geniuses that score Star Wars. I'm sorry. But the fact that Williams is coming back to do the Obi-Wan theme, like you said, it adds that weird layer of further legitimacy to this. As a reminder, you will hear this theme Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, the day before Star Wars Celebration, the day that Wes and I will be in Disneyland. Fun fact, we just got our tickets this week. So, hey, we'll say it now. If you're going to Celebration and you're going to Disneyland on Wednesday, we'll be around.
That's right.
Hey, Charles is not going to be there.
Not gonna be.
I will most decidedly not be there, but have fun though.
But that will be the day we
man.
will have seen Kenobi probably at least 3 times by the time we go to the park. And it will feature the music of Maestro, John Williams. John, I know you're listening. I know you're a big fan. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. We hope you score every series ever.
I don't
It's
know
really
what to say. I'm
close to us.
starstruck. Can't believe he's
Listening
watching.
to us on an iPod Shuffle for sure.
Really, oh my God. It's really full circle though, right? I mean, he's been around since the absolute
beginning.
beginning. I mean, realistically, do you think this is the last time we'll ever get something like with Obi-Wan? Like Ewan McGregor?
Oh, Ewan McGregor,
mean,
yes. I legitimately
This
think
is absolutely no chance until he dies. The last time he's going to be involved in a Star
McGregor?
Wars project.
yes. I'll
Man,
say
I
that
don't
in
know.
sand.
I'm gonna say a hopeful no.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll find
see.
out. We'll see how it
We
ends.
will find out.
Um,
Old man doing this podcast, like episode 873, and we're like, "Those damn youngins." I don't know.
Their
That's-
fourth
that'll be
Obi-Wan
different.
That'll be in like
series?
5 years at the rate.
That's
that
true.
we're
We'll
going.
just feel that way. Oh, but
Yeah.
that's amazing. Can't wait for that in May. Obviously, there'll be bounty hunts. Obviously, there'll be footage. Very excited for Williams. Last piece of news is a first for us because we can't tell you what it is, right, Corey?
Yeah, I would love to tell you exactly what I want to tell you, but I am legally obligated to not tell you. All I can say is that tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time.
The 22nd. So if you're listening to this, it's already
Yes, that is correct. It is already out. 22nd, tomorrow, if you're listening live. Tomorrow on the 22nd of February, around 2 p.m., you should pay attention to Youtini channels. All the official channels, whether it's email or social media, the Youtini website. We have some very, very big news to share, which I want to talk about so much, but I can't talk about. So
out. Yep.
pay attention. It's going to be big. Some of the biggest news that Youtini's ever personally delivered, and it's really exciting to be here along for the ride. The Star Wars company that we started a mere 4 years ago.
4 years ago, I got a time hop last week that I wrote my first article. And here
if
we
we're,
are.
If
Yeah.
we're legally
Pay attention.
obligated, it means it's big news.
It's big
Yeah.
news.
But we oh yeah, you're right, Tim. We did intentionally totally do it's 2/22/22 at 2.
Holy crap, that was not intentional.
That
But
was
that is
very
genius.
intentional.
So we'll see you
Yes.
tomorrow again
Oh,
Eastern
yes.
time.
Everything is proceeding exactly as I have foreseen.
That's right. We will yeah, it's a very weird thing, and everything will make sense tomorrow, but we just wanted to tell all of you that are watching live, we're very excited. We will see you in the channels tomorrow, and next week's show, we will talk about it fully with much excitement and enthusiasm. But until then, make sure you head over to the Youtini.com release calendar so you can check out all the new books that are coming out, including The High Republic Mission to Disaster, that's coming March 1st, which is in 2 weeks. Coming up pretty close. The High Republic Tempest Runner script book is coming March 15th, and Queen's Hope is coming on April 5th. Again, all those links, all those book profiles are there. We also want to give a quick reminder that now that we're out of roundtables for like, I don't know, a week, make sure that as you're reading your Star Wars books, you go over to Youtini.com, you'll look them up, you find their book profile, and you scroll on down on those pages, and you will see star ratings, where you can leave 1 to 5 stars and a little review. We'd love to read some reviews on this show. Let us know what you're reading. If they're new releases, wonderful. If they're older books, that's great too. We're all at different parts in our Star Wars journey. Leave those reviews. And again, in the 4 shows this year that aren't roundtables, we'll try to read some. All right. With all that said, we are going to take a really quick ad break to show you some of the great work by our very own Emma Park. She cut together a new ad this week. And then we will be back to tell you all about the High Republic HQ that we built this weekend. We'll walk you through it. Be right back.
It's the best back cover since Star Wars Episode 1 hardcover novelization. The one with young Anakin, because on the back, just to remind y'all, is a full headshot of Watto.
It's so big. It's
I think
so
I brought
large.
this up on one of the earliest episodes of the Living
my
Force
God, yeah.
ever, and I thought I'd bring it back.
Oh my god, yeah.
Series and all of Legends. What do you guys think? Could it be the X-Wing series? Might just be the
It
most
was pretty
romance
steamy.
intensive series ever. And we're not just talking about the scene where Corran Horn describes his love affair with an otter. I mean, a Salonian that he hooked up with her and then he broke out in chives.
Yeah, not chives.
In
Not
Hives.
chives.
What's it called? The bumps?
Hives, dude. Hives.
Chives
I'm so
go on your
sorry.
potato.
I'm hearing you say the same thing.
Chives
What
what
is-
you put on the potato. No C. Hives.
Hives.
Not chives.
What'd I say?
Chives.
It's not a very common story to approach. Yeah, again, drawing the complex family tree of Django to clone identical son to clone all identical millions of sons, but they're a generation older. So then the son is kind of all Django's equal, but then Boba is a generation younger. But then that clone's son is Boba's age. But then is Boba his dad or his nephew or his uncle or his cousin? It's like.
Yeah, I guess you
dying,
haven't seen
Emma.
that one.
Oh my God, Emma, that's by far the best edit you've ever done on one of those ads.
Oh.
Oh man, that was very good. Strong work. Strong
Yeah,
work.
shout out to our friends at Legends Look Back Cosmic Force on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. If you want to see those shenanigans live, you gotta check them out on the weekly. All right, so for tonight's main show, we are all about the High Republic, as honestly we are most weeks at this point. However, this week we decided to make something that we've been thinking about for quite a while. And Corey mentioned his 2 weeks of coding that he just recently did. That actually all took place in about 4 days. Because Corey messaged me last week and he
Make
said,
10 men feel like 100.
that was it. It was our Rogue One inspiration. So Thursday, you came out to me and you're like, hey, you know what? We've always High Republic books. I mean, next to me right here, these are just the adult, young adult, and junior novels of Phase 1. It's 9 books up. And the questions we get all the time, Corey's like, people always ask us, what's the reading order? What do I have to read? What do I need to do? And we can answer these questions. We try to help people out. We hope that if you're listening, we've helped you out. But there wasn't one place on Youtini where it was all possible. So Corey, what did we do to fix that? That took a marvelous amount of time, but I think it's going to be extremely helpful to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I mean, the High Republic is like, look, I mean, we run a Star Wars podcast specifically about books and comics, and even we are utterly confused by this at times. I mean, like the High Republic is definitely the biggest initiative they've ever created, but it is like kind of insane how many layers it is to it. Like, I mean, if you're trying to read and follow everything, like you kind of have to read everything if you're gonna like understand what's happening in every book. Like I'm reading, what's it, Horizon Zero?
Midnight Horizon.
Oh, Midnight Horizon. What the
Horizon
Horizon
Almost
Zero
done.
Dawn? Is that what
You're
you're
reading
reading?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's what I almost said. What is my brain going? Yes, I'm reading Midnight Horizon right now, and like I was talking to Eric and stuff, and I was like, "Listen, I'm not caught up on the comics. Like, do I need to go back and read them?" He's like, "Yeah, you got to read this comic, this comic, this comic," and I'm just like, dude, this is nuts. This is really, really hard. And if it's hard for us, then it's got to be hard for everybody else as well. So, we get a lot of emails, like Eric said, about like what's the best thing to read, what order should we read. So we decided just to put it all together into this really cool part of our website called the High Republic HQ. It's youtini.com/High Republic HQ. You can get to it actually on the homepage. There's a fancy new little button in the top of the
I love
website.
new buttons, Corey. I love new buttons. It's my favorite
Yeah.
thing you make.
Yeah, it's a nice little button, very easily accessible on the website. Just at the top right, you can just hit that, and it'll take you right over to the High Republic headquarters. And it's pretty cool. We have all kinds of interesting stuff on the on this particular page, right? Wes will show it here in just a minute. But we have kind of like all the High Republic headquarters is sort of a wrap up of all the different content that Youtini has related to the High Republic. Like we have the news and guides and reviews, like kind of everything that Youtini has produced around the High Republic initiative. You can find it all on this one page. So hopefully this will be helpful both for folks trying to navigate the High Republic, but also like if you want to kind of keep up with what new book excerpt is out or what are the latest books that have been announced, that sort of thing. You can come back to the site and find that kind of information, which will hopefully be helpful.
Yeah, and I think for the most basic part of this site, for our listeners, it's Youtini.com. You can go /high-republic-HQ. But like Corey said, if you go to Youtini.com, there's literally the button that says High Republic. It's a lovely golden button. If you hit that, you get to the main High Republic page. And if you just want to know, hey, what's all in the High Republic? What are the High Republic books? You can scroll on down to these lovely menus. Corey designed these. Shout out, they're gorgeous. But down here, we have something that literally just says all High Republic books. If you just want to know what is in this, can I just see what they are? We've broken down for you the adult novels, the young adult novels, the audio dramas. Mm-hmm. The graphic novels, trade paperbacks, and manga now, because we have all these. The comic series that are individual issue by issue, the young readers' guides, the kids' books, and the reference books. I'm just so excited that there's a reference books category now. That's amazing. Yeah. We thought it was going to happen. But this is one of the things that I really love that we started with here, because sometimes if you don't need to know necessarily what order do I do stuff in, what do I do? It's just, hey, what books and projects are in this? Did I miss anything?
What exists, right?
Like, I can't believe there's so much that came out within a year.
This is nuts, dude.
That's outrageous.
This is beautiful. So that's one section that I particularly like, is just that basic bit of what do I need to read.
Yeah, and I'm especially excited about like comic series, for example, because like whenever you see the reading list, which we can show here in a minute, like it's easy to get kind of lost in every single individual like comic issue, right? But like just to be able to see that there are 5 comic series essentially, right? And 2 of them are miniseries. Like it's helpful to, I guess Monster Temple Peak is also a miniseries.
Yep.
This is helpful. And we're going to keep this page updated. I mean, the nice thing about the way I've designed this is like it kind of automatically updates whenever we add new book announcements. You can see all the upcoming books are in here too, right? You can all the upcoming books are coming in here too. But I think the headquarters is one really cool part of this. But we have 2 other things that I'd like to kind of show off too. Is the Getting Started guide. Let's talk about this for a little bit, Eric, because you helped write this. You did write it. You wrote the whole thing with some help of the team. So let's kind of talk
it's my fault if it's wrong.
Yes, let's talk through what this guide is a little bit, because like this is probably the longest like guides are a section of content on the Youtini website. This is probably the longest guide we've ever written. Like it's enormous. It's like a 12-page Google Doc.
If there was ever a week for me to lose my job, it was this one, because I did have time to write this guide. And like Corey said, it's a large guide, but that's because it does encompass all the High Republic stuff we have right now. So let's go through how you use it. Number 1, the first things that we have is just an introduction. So if you're brand new to the High Republic, you can go to our Getting Started guide to literally get started, and you get some basic questions answered. What is the High Republic? When does it take place? And what I'm actually quite proud of, what is the phase wave structure? Because guys, we've misspoken, 87,000 times of phase and wave.
Yes.
But if you just want this, we break it all down. We tell you what the 3 waves are, or what. I did it! I'm looking at the page and I just
You're
did
literally staring at the page.
Right.
I know. It's so confusing. They should have chose words that don't end in A. Like they're both A words. There's phases and waves, right? They couldn't have called it like, I don't know, like sections and waves or something. I don't know.
But we luckily on this page we do type out all 3 phases, and then we tell you each phase is made up of 3 waves and what each wave contains inside it. We got a lovely picture of the story architects who were in Disney this week, which was so much fun to see. But they're all up there. we tell you the best reading order is going to be release.
Daniel Jose
Right?
Older, man.
Daniel Jose Older has the best smile of anyone. I will
He
fight
does.
you all.
He looks like the most fun.
He does. But the thing that Corey and I really talked a lot about with this guide was how to use it and why we were making it. And the ultimate reason we made this is because we need to know, as Stephanie just said in the chat, before I read a book, what do I need to read to understand the plot and characters? But also, what do we recommend you read to understand every ancillary character and plot? So basically, we know there are books you can read where, hey, if you just want to know what's going on at all, we got you covered. However, if you want to get the cameos that Charles talks about a lot, if you want to really know like the depth of it and maybe turn your 7.5 into a 9.5 because you're understanding the full breadth of everything, we got you covered there. And we want to go through a few examples about that, starting with phase 1.
Yeah.
Because that's all we got so far.
Yeah, for sure. And we have all the like necessary information about all the books here. I mean, there's links to like the book profile pages on the site. So if you want to use this to kind of jump over to leave a review of a book, you can do that. But we talk about like the published date, like the major characters that are in the book. I mean, Eric, you really did a hell of a job putting this together, and you involved some other team members too in this project, didn't you? I mean, didn't you kind of have to reach out a little bit here and there on the team?
I did. We have so many people on our team that love the High Republic, that have been reading everything, that also know a lot of dates as well, more than me, that are basically on top of all the info. So from our database team to our comics readers to our novel readers on the team, like we said before, we got almost 30 people now. I reached out to a lot of people to ensure this stuff is as basically correct as possible. So while we were going through this, the basic setup of each page is going to go like this. You're going to get which wave you're in, which we have links to. You can go wave to wave. We'll tell you the major event of the wave. Because as we've known in the High Republic, each wave kind of has its main thing. So far, the Great Disaster, the Republic Fair, and Starlight Beacon. Those are kind of the 3 things we got so far in the High Republic. And also, we have tried to be as spoiler-free as possible for all these things. Like, for instance, we talk about Starlight Beacon in Wave 3 because it's on the cover of the books. We talk about the fair. We talk about the Great Disaster because these are the first things that happen. So, hopefully, if you're just reading the High Republic for the first time or showing a friend what to do, you will not be spoiled for anything major on this. We got no character death, anything like that, because this is a resource for you to make this easier, right? So if you're looking at phase 1,
I also wanted to point out too, Eric, that you
that.
used all the official synopses here instead of like our own stuff, because sometimes the Youtini book
Publisher
bios that we
summaries.
write ourselves can maybe be a little bit too revealing, but the synopses, these are official synopses here, right? So you can just kind of see what the book is about. So I really like that. I mean, like, you know, a good example would be maybe going down to like, if you go down to like wave 2 or something like that, like, what do you need to know if you're going to read like something that's kind of in the middle of the way, like Out of the Shadows, right? Like you said,
a great point.
Yeah, you said Out of the Shadows. You said that necessary reading is Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, and Into the Dark. But if you really wanted to understand everything, you should also check out Test of Courage, right? So like, this was a really clever way to do this because and this idea specifically came from my reading Midnight Horizon, because I was like, what is the minimum that I need to understand, and what do I really need to understand? So Eric, you said something funny to me when we were talking about this in DM, just something like that is the key to actually getting it on the Youtini site is when Corey has trouble understanding or doing something,
then it will happen.
Suddenly happens really fast, and that is essentially the reason I built Youtini in the first place. Is because I was tired of not being able to figure out where the hell the Star Wars books fall, right? So I wanted to build a resource to kind of help people navigate that. So this specific guide should be very helpful for navigating the High Republic, I think. And it has all the phases on there. We're going to keep it updated as the new books come out too. And like this goes all the way down through it has all the comic series. It has the adult and the young adult and the sort of junior middle grade books all on here, right? So which are pretty much the essential ones. I mean, there's also some short stories which are a little more ancillary and supplemental that are not totally crucial to understanding everything. But we included everything that's major in this getting started guide.
Yeah. And Wes, if you'd be so kind as to go down to wave 3, there's a few things I want to highlight because as you get deeper into the initiative, more characters show up. And one of the things we've talked about in the last couple of weeks is that in the High Republic, there's been some stuff that we talked about in our Fallen Star roundtable of like, oh, I wish I would have known this was happening, but it happened in the comic. Like, where's Avar Chris? What's going on with that kind of stuff? And what I really like about wave 3, and that actually made it a lot harder to write, which is fine, was in the Fallen Star, for instance. We show you got your major event right here. We go to the Fallen Star. We got your synopsis. We have your major characters that are listed. So if you're just looking for books on specific characters, we got you covered there. But a necessary reading for the Fallen Star, we give you Light of the Jedi Rising Storm. The adult novels, bam, bam. You can basically do all 3. But recommended, we got very specific with this. Because we said to get all the characters in Fallen Star, you should read Into the Dark, Out of the Shadows, and then the High Republic comic through issue 13, and the High Republic Adventures through issue 12. Because as they've said throughout this entire initiative, the whole idea is that if you read in release order as things come out, you'll get everything you need to do. But sometimes you don't want to look up when a specific comic issue came out, so that's what this guide will do for you. We will tell you, hey, Midnight Horizon, you should read High Republic Adventures through issue 13 because that was the one that came out right before the book was released. So that way you can kind of get rid of any kind of spoilers, any cross-contamination, but you will get all the characters from those books. And of course, if you want more Ram Jamaram, you should read Race to Crash Point Tower and the High Republic Adventures Annual because the High Republic Adventures Annual characters that DJO wrote will show up in Midnight Horizon and things like that. So if you are a person that is like, why can't I visualize these characters? Because I have a tough time with that myself, where there's a lot of characters that appear in the comics that are just like, they're really well described, but there's like 50 of them, and I got a Wikipedia the alien race, right? But if I know which comic issue I need to read, bam, I get that. Same thing with Trail of Shadows. We have your necessary reading is Light of the Jedi Rising Storm, because the end of the Rising Storm is a huge spoiler for the beginning of Trail of Shadows. However, you should probably read the Fallen Star before you read issue 5 of Trail of Shadows. So if you want that level of specificity, because we don't want you to get spoiled. We really don't, because there's so many cool things happening. And if you just read a trade all the way through, you might get spoiled for certain things. So we try to make this as updated as possible. Again, our friends in the High Republic Discord channel have been super helpful with troubleshooting stuff. If at any time you see things in this guide as you use it, that it either doesn't line up for you or you have suggestions, please feel free to either go on the High Republic channel and tag us, DM us on Twitter, DM us on Discord, all that kind of stuff, because this should be the guide that helps you through all the great stuff that's coming in the next, honestly, 2 years of content. And it's pretty.
And Eric, you mentioned something too. You said, you could try to rely on release order. And like generally speaking, yes, that is a good thing. But one, it's hard to find, like you mentioned. And two, I think we all know from the pandemic of the past few years, things get delayed, things get pushed, things happen, right? Things happen. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're holding up an example there. So
when did this book come out, Charles?
Exactly.
Mission to Disaster. When was this released, in January or March? Both?
Maybe both. It depends. Are you talking about digital or physical? Yeah. So
right.
So point being that you cannot always fall back on that, and we are always going to keep this page updated on the site. So like, if you really need the answer, nose to the grindstone, don't just fall back on release order. Actually consider checking out this page.
Yeah. And Wes, I know you and I read pretty similarly. I feel like. I mean, like we have trouble keeping up with stuff. And
the day before the roundtable, is that what you mean? Is that what you mean?
I was gonna say we're bad about staying on top of everything until Eric yells at us. Right?
That's just how I read, and you're making me feel like I'm like my type of reading is less than
defective.
Yeah, it's less than.
Midnight Horizon is not the name of the next book we're doing a roundtable on. It's the name of when Wes finishes the book before he drops it.
Pretty cool. The good thing about having this order and looking at the characters involved is whenever I'm reading a book and I don't know what a character is or who a character is or what species it is, I always have to stop, put the book down, open my phone, go to Wikipedia, and figure out what this certain character species is, what the character looks like.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's real.
We
So
all
I'm
do
like, that's the only time I'm going to use my phone for Wikipedia. That's it. So I put it down, and then a page in, I'm like, well, who the hell is that? So then I have to pick it back up and then do it all over again, sign right back into the app. I mean, so
I know.
having
Now,
this all in
funny
one
enough,
place
the,
is very helpful.
Funny enough, I think honestly the next stage that Youtini is considering we've been talking about this a little bit in regards to the High Republic, is to possibly do something with the characters, right? Now, we're sort of on the fence about this. You guys will have to let us know if this is something that you would be interested in. But we're a little on the fence of this because this is like, it's almost bordering a little more into lore, which is not really our thing, right? Like we're like kind of meta, right? Like we help you navigate the books and comics. We don't give you the information that's in them necessarily.
We
right?
will never
Except
be
in, like,
Wikipedia. They are amazing. They do so much good for the world. They have hundreds of thousands of pages. We can't do that, which is fine. We're different.
But the characters specifically, you almost need some navigational guide, I feel like, to kind of see who everybody is and how they're related. So that's something we've considered doing. So if that's something that would be interesting to you and meaningful to you, then let us know, and we can work on some, helpful resources in regards to that, guides and graphics. And there's cool stuff out there, like on Reddit and stuff. You can find really cool character guides, or even if you just Google High Republic characters, you can find like a picture with a lot of the Jedi and stuff on it. But there's not like a one-stop shop for all the information, and that's what Youtini tries to be. So if you would be interested in that, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely have, I believe we currently have, we have an Avar Chris collection in the works. I'll tease that. Over the content side, we have character collections like for Luke and Leia and stuff, obviously. But as the High Republic keeps going, I mean, like JG said, if we're getting 9 books a phase, there's going to be collections that we can make.
That's right. And there's something else that kind of ties into that, because like we don't really know how the phases are going to connect yet. Like do we even know the timetable of when the third phase, like what it's going to be about?
Third phase,
like,
considering they basically wrote it this week in Disney World, no.
Okay.
I'm guessing we'll come back here. I'm guessing we'll come back to the present, but also, I mean, hey, we couldn't have guessed that we were going 150 years earlier, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? So if the characters, if we, I kind of have the feeling personally that we're going to get like a whole new cast of characters with a little bit of overlap, like in this next phase. And then like the third phase, if I had to predict it, is probably going to be the same thing, like another all new cast of characters, but maybe some more overlap, right? Like I think that's probably how it's going to happen. And if that's the case, it may not be as crucial to navigate all the characters except while you're in the phase. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm having trouble navigating them, but when we do it again in the next phase, maybe it'll be different. So I don't know. We'll see. We got to see how it all comes together.
But that's also why we have this. That's why we didn't just make this guide. We made an entire High Republic HQ. Because I think if we had just made the guide for phases, that's fine. But we know this is going to be the main driving force in Star Wars publishing for the next 3 years, at least, right?
That's right.
So that's why we have this page. We feel pretty good. We've been a company for 4 years total. This version of the website has existed for like 2.5. We have at least 3 more years to go. I think this is a good investment. So on that note,
not the only one either. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So that's 2 really huge additions that we added to the site recently. Is this High Republic headquarters that's got everything kind of in one place, which you can navigate to on the homepage with that button we were talking about. And then the getting started guides, what we just covered. It's what Eric helped us write this week. We have one more thing that we put together that's kind of a huge project, and that's this High Republic reading order page. Now, like this is a step above the getting started page. Like if you're not interested in the minimalism, like what do I need to read to get to like the next piece of content? This is like the correct order to read everything in. Now, this is not exactly perfect yet. We have a few kinks to work out on this page because it's not right now. It's in pretty much publishing order, and we haven't built the infrastructure to manually choose our own order. But we're going to do that soon. It's just pretty time consuming to do that from a web design perspective. But this is like the definitive. I want to read every single piece of High Republic like content. This is the order you read it in, and it starts with Light of the Jedi. Has all of the adult novels, the young adult novels, the single issue comics, issue by issue. Yeah, exactly.
With
the order
purchase
that you
links.
read with purchase links.
Hey!
Yeah, we get 4%. There's my Shameless plug, right?
Yes.
We get a tiny little percentage.
But
from
you get the
Amazon.
story. That's the most important thing. You as the reader get the story. It's not about us.
100% of the story.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
oh my god, yeah, we get 4% of the price, you get 100% of the story. Charles, you're a genius.
Yeah, and this is also even a little more organized than that previous page we were just talking about. I mean, this has the individual waves and the phases on it, right? And this is another cool auto updating page that has got kind of issue by issue exactly what you need. And this is what honestly personally I needed more than anything is to be able to navigate the individual issues, because I'm trying to get caught up with the comics and stuff, and I'm really having trouble because I forget I can't remember what the last comic I read is. Like, I don't know which one it was. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back and pull them, because remember I sold my entire Star Wars collection, right? I told you guys that.
Absolutely.
Sure did.
I've gone digital. So now I'm having to go back in a new medium and check things out and stuff. And I admittedly have not read the manga yet. I haven't read the Edge of Balance stuff. That'll be really interesting. And I haven't read the.
I would say real
sorry, go
quick,
ahead.
we didn't talk that out for our audio listeners. JG said in the chat, and Stephanie backed him up. There are also Audible links. We have Amazon there, but if you are a listener, if you are a audio person, we got Audible links there as well for you. So.
They
So
have
you can get
Audible
audiobooks.
for comics.
No.
That's not
No,
true.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay, sorry.
Audible.
There's kinks
as
we're
in-
working out. There's kinks
Yeah,
we're
so
working
a few
out.
kinks got to work out. The Audible links, I don't think they take you directly to the book in Audible. We can change that. That wouldn't actually be that hard to do because there's not that many of them. So let me add that to the list really fast.
There we go. But yeah, and again, this will be updated as the phases go on. You'll be able to have your book by book thing. Again, if you're not jumping in on the Get Started guide, if you're not trying to figure out what you need to get, and you are a completionist, one, we love you. We are you. That's great. Wonderful. This page will definitely help you out and make sure, okay, I don't want to be spoiled by this. I'm reading this comic. Is this going to get this out of the way? And I think one of the key things too we tried to do with all these guys, with all these pages, is to really make sure you get the most impact of the story, because there are certain events that happen in multiple projects, and we tried to, again, objectively pick which book or which comic does this event happen in that will give you the best impact for the reveal. So if the reveal is best in Rising Storm, even if the event happens in the comic, we'll tell you to read Rising Storm first, because then you get to, relive it later, but you get the oomph, as it were. I'm a big oomph guy.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think oomph and impact. Yeah, it's similar to the Corey test with quotes, But yeah, those are two huge things. What else we got on? We got a couple other things on this page that are Youtini specific.
There's a couple other things on the. Are you talking about the reading order page?
I'm talking about the HQ as a whole.
Oh, the HQ as a whole. Yeah, the HQ has also got, it's got all, like I said earlier, it's got all of our news on there. It's got all of our book reviews. If you want to just quickly navigate to all of the Youtini book reviews we have, that you can easily get to all those on the HQ. Yep. We have a section that really needs to be updated. We're a little behind on moving some of this stuff over to the website, but like all of our YouTube content and podcast episodes, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
We'll have this on here in the next week or two, I think. You can just quickly see if you want to just find all the round tables, for example. Excuse me. You can find those there, and that's the big stuff. There's some, like Eric said, we have some more guides and things coming down the pipeline for High Republic stuff. But I think this is the big stuff. I think is how you navigate it. Like, what order do you read it in? That's the stuff that people have been asking us for forever. So apologies for taking so long to get this stuff put together. But this was. That was a lot of research.
They kept writing content, guys.
I know. they're still writing it. It's crazy. I mean, I just can't. I don't know about you guys, but like I knew the High Republic was going to be big, but it's a lot bigger than I expected it to be.
That's a great point. And I think, let me see. I think, JG brought this up, and I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this. He said, I'm willing to bet once the 3 phases are over, there will still be more High Republic books and content. And here's the question in relation to this, because if this keeps happening, obviously we got to keep updating. We are now tied to the High Republic. We're all in on the High Republic stock, because as of this point,
I have a second mortgage on my house.
For real, we bought the High Republic, guys. We own the Halcyon Star Cruiser.
No, I'm talking about to stay at the Halcyon. So okay,
that makes more sense.
For one night, dude?
For one night, yeah.
I am.
It's a small house, Wes. Don't judge me.
I am fascinated by what that's going to be in 3 years, but we'll get to that in 3 years. For now, I want to ask you guys, at this point, every single High Republic adult novel has appeared on, and I believe the YAs as well, but I got to double check that, has appeared on the New York Times bestseller list, every one.
Yeah.
And the top 10 comics of last year in Diamond included the High Republic #1.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that being said, they thought this was a 3-phase initiative. Based on year one's numbers, what do you guys think the future of the High Republic looks like? I mean, video games, TV shows are happening.
Yeah. Well, we're getting the video game and the TV show. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it evolves, right? Because this first phase, the scope, the content, there's so much dang content, but the scope still feels oddly small in a way, because we're dealing with the Nihil, we're dealing with, Markion Rowe and his grand plan. It's been really cool seeing how all that stuff plays out, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that story changes. And why are we going back 150 years? Why is that relevant? We don't really know yet, right? So
True.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it all comes together. If it's going to pull in some of those themes, like the Sith and the Jedi, that are kind of tried and true Star Wars storytelling. If they go that route, if they make it really, really big and they expand out and go the route of the ancient Sith and that sort of thing, I think that it pretty much opens the infinity door for content, right? Because if they go there, then they can literally do anything they want, which is what Legends kind of did with the Old Republic, right? You can tell whatever story you want if there aren't any rules. You know what I mean? So right now there are rules. The Jedi are a certain way, and the bad guys are a certain way. And if we shift that up, where the bad guys that we currently have are not actually the bad guys, right? Or something like that happens, then suddenly the rules are changed, and we're not in such a small box. I feel like maybe that's a weird take, but
I think that's a weird take. I mean, Stephanie just said, I'm pretty sure that phase 2 will be the biggest of them all. There's a lot of backstory, and I think you make a great point, and she makes a great point. When you go backwards, it does kind of open up because there's infinite space backwards. Essentially, I love that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And why stop a good thing?
It's true.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, even
that's
after
why the podcast keeps going.
Even after phase 3 is over, I mean, we have the Skywalker saga, and they're telling new stories all the time. Why can't they tell new stories from the High Republic era all the time? You can always insert character here or elaborate on character B there. Can we get an Avar Chris coming of age story? I mean, we can really go anywhere with it.
One, High Republic Twitter, I will say, is undefeated. All of y'all on High Republic Twitter, I love you. The authors love you. It's amazing, and legitimately, I think a giant reason why this initiative has gone so well. The online community around High Republic is unlike anything I've ever seen. I think it's wonderful.
It's very positive too. Something else that is
super positive.
I think we're in too deep now. That's why it's so positive, right? We've already weeded out all the people who weren't gonna stick around and matter.
You took a year. We had 9 books to read. You're in it.
I know, right?
That's
nobody's
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It already feels in a way back in Legends days, if you didn't read the NJO or whatever, it felt you don't have your head fully wrapped around the expanded universe. Now we're already reaching a point where if you're into Star Wars books and comics and you have not read the High Republic, you're missing a hugely significant part of the story. So yes,
in a non-gatekeepy way too, though, right?
Oh, yo, check this out.
It's not like you're not a real fan if you're not reading the High Republic. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just it takes such a energy, time, effort, commitment to keep up with all of it. If you're angry about it, you're not going to read 300 hours of content. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, Stephanie said it. We're in too deep, both emotionally and financially. Which also, exactly. I will say, as mentioned slightly earlier, you can't see it super well on my camera, but I'll have to post this in Discord if I haven't. I did redo my entire back wall behind me, and I do have quite literally a shrine to the High Republic now on my wall, which includes 3 versions of every main book. I think I have 3 different versions of Out of the Shadow, again, we've said before, we do get one version of the book for free for reviews, which is great. But the simple amount of money a lot of us have just poured into, and not in a bad way, but in an exciting way of like, we want to support this for alternate covers, for hats and socks and shirts, and like
the publishers have earned any money they lost by sending review copies to Youtini. They've earned that money back tenfold from Eric alone. Like,
because Del Rey owns out of print. All right, y'all got me. I bought all of them, and I will say, if y'all give me the mic, if y'all make the Funko Pops in the Black Series,
yeah,
the floodgates will open.
You're gonna need more anchors for those shelves, buddy.
I think, I really think. I think to answer your original question, Eric, is like kind of how important is the High Republic? Is it going to matter in the long run? Is kind of what I feel like you're asking in a way. Like, I think that the true test of that question is going to be when they produce mainstream media related to the High Republic, right? Which is anything that's not purely literature, which is the Acolyte TV show. And the new video game that they're producing. I think that is really going to open the door. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like the High Republic could feasibly be a path forward for Star Wars, the franchise, like in a way. I mean,
absolutely.
Like we are, we're not running out of stories. It's not the right thing to say. We're not running out of stories with the Skywalker saga, but like the shock and awe, I feel like, is running out of steam a little bit, like with mainstream Star Wars, right? We've already killed off all the original characters, right? From the original trilogy. We have Rey and Finn and Poe and their stories, which and Adam Driver, and like I feel like it would take a pretty monumental effort to bring all of them back.
I'm sorry, I love that it's Rey, Finn, Poe, and Adam Driver. I like that. No, but
that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
No, he is now a character in Star Wars.
It is Adam Driver. I think it would take a lot of money. It would take a lot of money to bring back Adam Driver and John Boyega to Star Wars, quite frankly. I think it would take a monumental amount of effort. I think they would say no if you asked them. Adam Driver pretty much did say no in that interview a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a little busy. You also see The Last Duel. It was great. He's doing stuff.
So I mean, that's an interesting thought experiment. I think I need to dial it back and be a little more realistic. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know anything. And I kind of have doubts that it will happen, but it could be a really cool and interesting way forward for Star Wars to like leave behind the Skywalker saga and stay true to all the Rise of Skywalker marketing that was made up on the spot, saying that this is the end of the stay true to that marketing and let's retcon the marketing. That'd be good. And let's go back in time and tell a completely new story with some of these characters that we already have. Like Avar Chris coming of age story is amazing. I would love to see that play out on screen a decade from now, right? Like something like it's completely new and original, and I think the High Republic
story
has
of Stellan, Elzar, and Avar. Like that's what the internet wants, man.
I think the High Republic is in my opinion, I think the High Republic is the most interesting, well thought out, and impressive Star Wars storytelling that's ever been done in the history of Star Wars. Period. Like hard stop. Like nobody else has ever collaborated like this. We've never seen anything like this before, and it's enormously successful.
It
works
working.
really, really good. It's so true to the original Star Wars and the Jedi and their values. Like it's so true to everything we already know. It's just a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea, and I'm very pleased to see it out. And I'm super glad that we can help, people navigate it as Youtini, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Let's start small. Make a Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga DLC pack with Avar Chris. There you go. I'll pay $5 for that. It's a Lego. Just try it. Just try it. I love that idea, and I think it's interesting. Justin, you make a great point. The Skywalker Saga books are kind of like reverse Jenga. There's like so many one-shot character studies you can do, and we're getting some of those this year, right? Like we're getting Shadows of the Sith, which is Luke and Lando, which is going to be super exciting, with some Rey stuff in there, and we're getting a lot of Obi-Wan content. Obviously, the Obi-Wan year we're about to have, oh my god, all that stuff is great, but it is such a cool idea. And again, why we made this whole headquarters is that we believe at Youtini that the High Republic is not just a 3-phase singular thing. They are in. They are in this for the long haul. We are in this for the long haul. And I am just so beyond excited. And I really, really hope that this is helpful for all of you listening, all of you watching, wherever you are in the High Republic. I hope that anytime you have a question, we can help you out with this. I hope this is a good one-stop shop. And if you want to share it around to people that you love, I'm not going to stop you. Why would I do that? That would be rude. I will let you share and do whatever you want to do. And I will say, to the day I die, I can't believe we decided to do a Star Wars podcast the year before the High Republic came out.
Dude, like, listen, we had it all figured out by the time High Republic rolled around, right? That's what's incredible.
I'm sure like, we practiced for a year.
Like, what's so funny is that, like, this, if you would have showed me this website in the first iteration of Youtini.com, I would have thought that, wow, like, we must have made a bunch of money and hired some, like, real web developers, because this is, like, really impressive. Like, the fact that I was able to throw together this High Republic headquarters in, like, less than 10 hours of work is a monument just to how far the
Don't let them know how quick it was. You're giving away the secrets.
I'm talking about the web design, to be clear.
Okay, great.
That's it. Just the code. And also, to be clear, I copied and pasted this code from other pages we have on our site that look pretty similar, right? So I didn't have to build it all from scratch.
I've never seen this this rotating circle thing, galaxy deal. It looks really cool.
Yeah, you never seen that? That's called a Lottie file, Wes.
Oh,
all right.
Special web design.
Losing them.
Keep telling me.
You want me to talk about the maximum size files we can have on the site? And
I'm sure someone does.
Listen, if you want to be successful in this space, you need to learn to become a web developer, right? That's all I got to say.
we use Webflow, I'll tell you that. So I will say, all these things, all these different resources we have now, I'm very excited for. Before we kind of give our final thoughts on where the High Republic is going, where we're going as a site, one more reminder. Tomorrow, 2/22/22 at 2. We'll see you there. We're very excited. It's kind of a new chapter for Youtini. I can't wait. But guys, as we come into this kind of new chapter of the High Republic as well, Phase 1 is basically ending. We are now establishing our faith in the initiative. What about these resources will you personally, as a reader, be using going forward as we get more High Republic content? What do you think is going to be the most useful, and you hope is most useful to people that use the site?
Well, like I kind of mentioned already, I am personally literally using, I referenced it yesterday to download comics, and I built the dang page yesterday, or at least assembled most of it yesterday. I've already used the reading order, like, personally, because, like I said, I'm behind on the comics, and I want to get caught up on the comics before we start the next phase, right? Like, I got to get caught up in stuff, and I like to get through it before I start the Mark Row comic, personally, right? So I've already started using it, and I think it's nice. It's really nice, personally, just to have a pretty list that's got all the covers in the order I need to read them in. So
beautiful, basic reading order. Love that.
I really like how you have the major characters listed in the Getting Started guide that tells you which characters are in these books or comics. And because if they show up in one of the adult novels, you're like, who is that? How come? I don't know that person's backstory. And then figure out that, a couple iterations back that you could have had all that information there. And it tells you which characters are there and then the necessary reading order. That's genius. Genius. Way to go, Youtini, putting this all together. We really knocked it out of the park.
It's a team effort. Yeah, sorry if it feels like we're tooting our own horn a bit here. This is hugely a team effort. There's no way we could have done this.
We're very proud of the team we've had, and that they're lovely
our timeline
people.
guys, Trevor and Frank, have been incredibly helpful, keeping everything up to date. Jacob on the team, helping us with, he's like kind of slowly becoming our High Republic genius. Shout out to you, Jacob.
Everyone's attractive, also. Super helps. It's ridiculous. Everyone's so hot. If we had a holiday party, it'd be madness. The Instagram would break.
That Hansel is so hot right now.
That's right.
So I think for me, to answer your question, Eric, mine is going to be the necessary and recommended reading that's on the site, because I think inevitably there are going to things that fall through the cracks for me. I have not read every single piece of media that has come out for the High Republic, even up to this point. So when I need to read something, like it's the newest roundtable, and I need to be caught up quick, that's probably where I'm going to go as my resource. And I love that, because there is that feeling of hey, the train's left the station, guys, and it's gathering steam. Get on now while you can. But this part of the site is like, hey, guys, relax. There's a train station right up there. If you missed it here, you can hop on at the next stop, and we're all going to get to the same place, which at the end of this is going to be undoubtedly an amazing story that years have gone into creating, and some incredible minds have gone into creating. So we are just trying to bring as many people as we can with us to that finish line, which hopefully is very far away.
Absolutely. And I'm going to round us off with just saying I'm really excited to watch these High Republic news and the High Republic guide sections just expand as time goes on. We've got a lot of great writers and a lot of good people on this team that are going to be bringing all this stuff to us. And it's just going to be so fun to see the see more, just grow and grow and grow as new titles get announced, as new excerpts come out, as new reviews come out, and as we were able to write new guides to tell you, hey, like these character guides we talked about, I hope that this comes to a place where you're like, you know what I'm in the mood for, and maybe I'm not caught up. Which comics can I read where I'm going to get the best Lulatelli Sola stuff? Where is the book that I'm going to get that's going to get me Buryaga content? And I hope that these are going to be those places for you all in the future. It's just very exciting to have such a rich initiative, and to think that just over a year ago we were reading Light of the Jedi and being like, man, this book is great. These are really cool characters. Yeah. That was it. And now we have a whole page dedicated to it. And oh my God, one more comment I want to read before we get on out of here. Gigi Carr says, Youtini should host a Nile Masquerade Ball at Anaheim.
Oh my God.
You know what?
Dude, the High Republic costumes in Anaheim are going to be incredible.
Please, all the cosplayers, we will try to wear as many Youtini shirts and identifying markings as we can. Come up to me. I want pictures. I want to see you. I'm so excited to see the High Republic crowd in May. I'm excited to see people at Disneyland. And you know what? Even if there's not an official masquerade ball, if you give me a mask, I'll be dancing. I don't care.
Are you kidding me? There's going to be enough alcohol in Eric. He's going to need a mask. You know, they sell beer at Celebration.
4 days, baby!
That, right? Yeah, it's going to be incredible.
It'll be a great time.
We're going to need to bring some alcohol medication for Eric is what we're gonna have to do.
Alcohol medication. Oh,
yeah.
That's a doctor.
You mean that a couple doctors with some IV bags?
You know, they teach you in medical school to use the layman terminology. So, I wanted to use words that you would understand, Wes.
Oh, you're so good to me, buddy.
That's what I need.
Well, listen. If we're gonna do an entire episode tooting our own horn, I think it would be remiss of us if we didn't say, like, if you have any skills whatsoever, if you're interested in joining the team and contributing in any way, pretty much all you need is to be a decent, likable person. You can communicate well, like on the internet, and is willing to put in some time and effort and energy with a good work ethic. If you got that, listen, you don't need to know how to be a video editor. We can teach you that. All right, we've learned how to do all that stuff over the years. Like, we've had enough turnover on the team and trained enough people to, like, we will get you the skills you need if you got the right attitude, right? So, if you have been on the fence about whether or not you've wanted to reach out and say, hey, I have some interest in this Youtini thing you guys are doing, and I would like to contribute, like, now's the time to do it. We're trying to grow the team this year. We're about to put up an official, actually, I don't even told you guys this on the show. We're about to put up an official job board section of the Youtini website of specific skills we're looking for and roles that we want to fill. So, if you fit that criteria, if you're a patron, if you're in our Discord, whatever, I don't care. Just send us an email, corey@youtini.com. We're happy to entertain the idea of bringing some new folks onto the team if you are the right fit. So
this is the weirdest way to find out that Corey's trying to replace me I've ever heard, but it's good to. I'm glad it got recorded.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I'm trying. It is my personal goal to replace everybody always, Eric. That's how I keep you here.
It's like skin cells. Every while it completely replaces.
A little scared. Just know that everyone is replaceable. That's all I have to say. All right, let's go on.
Well, beautiful. On that note, again, everyone, we'll see you tomorrow for some awesome Youtini news. We haven't said this in a little bit. 2 weeks from now is our Midnight Horizon Roundtable. It's our next one. So not next week's show. We'll have a more quote-unquote typical show.
Get on it, Wes.
That book has been there for 2 weeks. I'm going to pick it off the shelf today.
You're ready. Make sure you read
Set
some
it on
Higher
your
Republic.
a different shelf for another 2 weeks.
Well, and Wes, I'll tell you what. Before you read it, make sure you get some Higher Republic Adventures that you can see on the Getting Started guide. And we'll see you for that in 2 weeks. We'll see you tomorrow for some great content. Best part of my week, but unfortunately it's at an end. Because, my friends, that will do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you support us on Patreon, thank you so much. We hope you enjoy that Rogue One commentary that's coming to you very, very soon. We'll do Revenge of the Sith in just a couple weeks. A special thank you goes out to OK Endar, Jeremy Kazina, Brian Dooley, JG Kars, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Matt Billington, Tyler Latour, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C, and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter. The show is at Living Force Pod. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles is at C. Henkel. And Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podcasting with me tonight. Thank you to all of you for listening and watching. And as always, may the Force be with you.